Forever. Dog.
When your first choice is a big old bus,
You turn around and boom,
you end up with us. Sloppy seconds.
oh, diva. Our number is 213-536-9180. Our email is sloppysecondspod@gmail.com. Now on with the show. Hi, you slops, you stupid little fucks, you nasty little fucks, you stupid little dirty little fucks. Stay home, don't go home for Christmas. Are you ready for some sloppy seconds? I'm Big Dipper and that's Meatball. And welcome to Sloppy Seconds with Big Dipper and Meatball.
The long inhale you did before you started, it felt like you were really prepping to like run a mile or like, I don't know.
I'm
like,
fat. My lung capacity is low. It takes a lot just to talk.
Do you know how fat I felt yesterday? So fat.
I
Moving
did
things
too.
in and out of my car. I was like, what? All I do is sit in this chair?
I was
That's
just sitting in that little
insane.
school chair and I was just sweating and I was like, it's winter. What is happening?
It's too much.
It's
as
too
the-
much, mama.
As the children say, it's too much.
It's too much.
I do want to quickly talk about Home Alone, the film,
Okay.
because we were both, and we'll explain why, but we were both recently reminded of that. Home Alone was so formative for me, and I grew up in Evanston, which is the town next to Wilmette, where that takes place, or I guess it takes place in Glico. It takes place in the north side of Chicago.
Oh.
I watched that movie so many times. Remember when the older brother says woof?
Yes.
But it's a bad thing
Yeah,
about
woof,
the
your
girlfriend.
girlfriend.
Right,
Yeah.
but I was like, woof, your brother.
No.
That's not
But
a thing
remember
for you?
when we first started the podcast, I used to say woof is a bad thing because of that movie. And then everyone was like, no, it's a good thing. It's a positive.
Well, language evolves and changes, and we have to be ready for that and learn how to integrate those new definitions into our life.
You're right, faggot. And we'll talk more about that right after this break.
You know what I'm grateful for right now?
What?
My mattress. So I'm in my new apartment. I don't have a couch yet. And so the mattress and the bed, that's like really the only piece of furniture. So when I lay down on that sweet bad boy at night, I'm in heaven.
That's tea, ma. Helix Sleep makes personalized mattresses made right here in America and shipped straight to your door with free no-contact delivery, free returns, and a 100-night sleep trial.
To choose a mattress, Helix made a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you.
If you like a mattress that's really soft or firm, or you sleep on your side or your back or your stomach, or you sleep really hot, with Helix, there's a specific mattress for each and everybody's unique taste.
Yeah, I took the quiz and I was matched with a Helix Plus mattress. The big boys.
Yes, same. But they do have so many more mattresses. They have the Dawn, the Dusk, they have soft, they have medium, they have firm, they have whatever you need. They got it, baby.
And it's so cool. It comes in a box, and you like slide the mattress out. It's rolled up and wrapped in plastic. And once you cut open the plastic, air gets in there and it starts to just unfold.
Unfolds, it expands. You leave it for like 2 hours, I think, and when you come back, it's just like huge.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
So just go to helixsleep.com/sloppy, take their 2-minute sleep quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that'll give you the best sleep of your life.
They have a 10-year warranty, and you can try it for up to 100 nights risk-free. Up to 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will.
So right now, Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattresses. Get up to $200 off at helixsleep.com/sloppy.
Are you not quite feeling like yourself lately, Dipper? Do you feel extremely stressed out and nervous, and did you sleep last night at all?
Oh, so you can see that all from my face over the Zoom call? Why, yes! Seems like I should get some help from our sponsors, BetterHelp, which I have done. I'm signed up.
Yes! Well, were you aware that BetterHelp connects you with professional counseling securely over the internet that will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist?
That's right. professional counseling online, and once you sign up, you can start communicating in under 48 hours.
That's so cool. Plus, there's a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas.
So you can log into your account anytime, message your counselor, and then they'll get back to you. You can schedule weekly video sessions, phone sessions, or even just chat in the chat.
That's right. So you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable germ-filled waiting room as with traditional therapy again.
Woohoo! And BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it free and easy to change counselors if needed, which I did. I had one meeting with one counselor and I said, that's not the vibe for me, Gina. And so I changed.
That's really cool. Did you find like a gay counselor or like a super gay friendly counselor?
Well, you fill out this whole questionnaire, and so it can say like on your list of priorities, what do you most want to talk about? LGBTQ issues, relationships, stress, work, all these different things.
So it really is just like made for you, or they find the right person for you. That's so cool. So check out BetterHelp. That's Better H-E-L-P, and join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional.
And Sloppy Seconds listeners get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/sloppy.
That's betterhelp.com/sloppy for 10% off your first month.
betterhelp.com/sloppy.
And stay safe and healthy, everyone.
Okay, we are back, and we are so excited to have our special guest with us today.
She's the winner of season 5 of RuPaul's Drag Race. She's a star of stage and screen, the premier Jewish narcoleptic drag queen from Seattle. It's Jinkx Monsoon. Did I freeze?
No, I included that intro because I had a conversation with Jinx where she was like, that was a casual thing I said one time on Drag Race, and it became my tagline.
Oh.
Hi, Jinx.
Hello, Jinx.
Hi. Yeah, it was kind of my like tagline in Seattle because I needed more about me to stand out from all the other queens, I guess. Forget the crispy wigs and the fright show makeup, but yeah, it's so funny because that became like what everyone known me as, of course, because I said it on TV, it became reality. But I haven't practiced a religion since I was like 10, and I don't know that people should necessarily be defined by their sleep disorders. So it's so funny that nowadays it's like people are like, "You're the Jewish narcoleptic drag queen," and I'm like, "Yeah, none of those things really come into my drag at all because they're not really integral to me as a human being." But there you have it. Television changes everything.
Well, thanks for being on the show.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm such a huge admirer of both of you.
Oh,
that's
you.
nice. Do you admire this beret that Meatball is wearing?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
it's a very nice beret.
Oh, oui.
You both look a lot better. I woke up an hour before this. You couldn't tell. I mean, I still have this morning's bedhead. If you don't know, it's a very big day for me and Ben de la Creme because as we began recording this podcast, listen to me transitioning in terms in a moment's notice.
You know a lot about pop filters and gain settings, so
gain
we're not surprised. Yeah, exactly.
Audio loops. Anyway, our film, the Jinx and Dela holiday special, just came out today at 10 a.m. My time.
That's so exciting.
Which is a different time all around the world. Yes, we're very excited. You can go to jinxanddela.com to rent it.
Well, I wanted to ask about this because is this the same show as the stage show that you did at the Montalban or whatever?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked, Meatball, because here's the thing we've been kind of noticing is that a lot of people assume when we say we have a new movie coming out that it's a recording of one of our stage shows or like we're releasing an archival performance of one of our stage shows. And that's really not what it is. We took the best of our previous 2 touring shows, hacked them to pieces, Frankenstein them together, and then wrote a whole new screenplay to showcase the best moments of our last two shows. And what it became by the time we were done filming it was a completely new, like entirely different thing from the past shows. And what it is a movie with a plot and a set and a director.
More
and
terminology.
producers. Yeah, it's like it's very much a movie. You know, it's about two drag queens who try to put on a holiday TV special like a la Judy Garland or Pee-wee's Playhouse, and they just can't seem to see eye to eye on how to celebrate the holidays. And so I'm really excited. It's a whole movie that you can watch.
I'm so excited to watch it. That's so interesting.
That's so cool.
How long have you and Ben been writing together?
We have only been writing together for the last like 3 years, but we've been working together for about a decade now. And it all just started that, like 10 years ago, Dela started putting me in shows that she would write. And then, Major Scales and I have been writing shows for years now. And we would oftentimes have Ben play cameo appearances or give a lot of input. She's great for giving input. She gives great input. Anyway, so we've been working alongside each other for a decade, and I've acted in many shows that she's written. And 3 years ago, when we kind of both had our holiday season open on our calendars, she asked me if I wanted to do a very simple show where we just kind of improv'd our way through our best holiday themed numbers and kind of just sat and chatted with the audience. That was the proposal. And then a week later, she calls me and says, actually, what if we just wrote a whole show? And that's how it began. And it's been very interesting throughout the years because we both have written for ourselves for so long that now we've had to learn how to write for each other. And we write a lot of lines for each other and a lot of moments for each other where we kind of have to put on the other one's character. Like I'll be sitting at my computer and be like, hi, I'm Ben Dela Cram, and I just want to tell you,
That's amazing. It's so, I have like a broader question that I don't know. It's so interesting. There's a criticism of Drag Race that it only sort of elevates and features certain queens. But then when you like look at all of the queens that have come out of the show now, which is over 100, and all of the winners and the people who have risen to the top and created careers for themselves, it's like everyone does such unique and interesting things. So like, it's so cool that you and Ben have found like a partnership, and there are so many of those partnerships. It's like Bob and Monet have found this friendship, Wilma and like all of these like different pairs of people, which is so fun. But also like I'm curious.
I need to get a partner.
Do you? Yeah, fuck whatever I've been doing over here. But do you feel like, I knew you knew Ben before the show, but do you feel like that? Like, I don't know, your career's getting bigger fueled that partnership? Do you feel like you fit in with the Drag Race girls and the other winners? I'm just curious, like, where you see yourself in that place.
I would say like yes to all of that,
Oh, sick.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Ben and I were actually, Dela and I were talking about writing a show together right before I auditioned for Drag Race. And then I ended up getting on, so we kind of had to suspend our plans, and it turned out indefinitely. We had to suspend our plans indefinitely. But yeah, we were about to start writing shows together right before Drag Race. And then our careers peeled off in the directions they peeled off into. And then it was, 10 years later that we, I guess not 10 at that point. That's just become my talking point. It's like 10 years ago.
Oh, 1 decade.
Then it just kind of all synced up in the right moment at the right time for us to finally do something we've talked about doing for a long time. But I think, drag is a very familial thing. It takes a village to create a drag queen. And there's so many people who I work intensely with on drag, whether they are other drag queens or, you know, my chosen family and the people on my on the Jinkx Monsoon team. So I never have felt like I do drag alone. Like it always, that was the hardest part about Drag Race, was you got to go do it alone, when a lot of us are used to having, even before success and we could afford assistants and tour managers and whatnot, we're used to having our best friends, you know, give their input and kind of help us along the way. Like I've borrowed countless outfits from countless people throughout the years before I could afford to buy my own. And and that was the scariest thing about Drag Race, was going on and not having that safety net, that support unit. But because of Drag Race, you meet the other people in the world, you know, who you might not have met if you hadn't gone on the show, that like share a very similar aesthetic. You know, Alaska and I have become really close throughout the years, and I really feel connected to her. Bob the drag queen and I collaborate really, really well together. We've only done a handful of things together, mostly Peaches Christ shows. But whenever we work together, it feels like, where have you been all my life, you know? So it Drag Race gave me an extended drag family that now I heavily rely on, you know?
Yeah.
I call people to run ideas past them and all that kind of stuff. And of course, it introduced me to Peaches Christ, who is now my adopted drag mother, someone who I feel like another person, where it's like, I feel like I've known you my whole life because we share so many of the same interests and passions as drag artists.
It's so cool when that clicks, you know?
Yeah.
I also, there's not a lot of drag queens that I consider are like fully theater and like musical theater based, you know? And not that like that's all you do, but there's not a lot of drag queens that write shows anymore. All the queens that are doing it are like kind of older. It's like kind of, it's
Not
still
older.
very...
Go off.
No,
what are you
offense.
up to
No,
over
I don't
here?
mean to be rude, but like it's just not something. I think it's what sets you apart and makes you so incredible, is because you and like Peaches Christ like are queens that are based in like putting on a show and not doing a drag number for tips. It's like you're going to do a performance. Is that something that's like strictly from like being in Seattle? Is that like the type of drag that is there?
I don't know. I think, yes, drag is very regional. And I think in Seattle, you know, Ben de la Creme was one of the queens early on who was writing like full scripted stage shows, and that became really successful. And, you know, Seattle came to kind of expect that from its drag performers. But Seattle has all the types of drag, you know. There's the bar for the tippin' queens. There's, you know, there's...
I know, I did a show at our place with all the bucking queens. I was like, what am I doing here?
What
They were
did you
doing
do at our
backflips.
place?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I did my
You
McDonald's
did a
number,
Lizzo
and
number?
I did a Lizzo number and a McDonald's, and I threw a hamburger, and it knocked someone's drink off the table onto their lap.
Okay, so...
So anyway,
usual
also,
antics
speaking of
where
other
someone
Seattle queens. Do you know Robbie Turner?
What's going on?
Yeah. I've known.
Can we get her number?
Do you have her phone number?
We want to do an interview with her.
I don't feel at liberty to give it out, but I can reach out to Robbie and ask if she's interested.
Because we want to do a deep dive and find out what really happened and how she feels.
I
about
feel like
it.
she was persecuted wrongly.
Correct.
Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot of layers there, you know. There's a lot of layers there.
We love layers.
we love layers.
Sparks.
I like to peel back a layer.
Yeah.
I like to layer clothes in the winter.
You like to peel back more than a layer.
I like a 7-layer dip.
I have
what
one
I will
more...
say
is...
Oh, sorry to interrupt this ongoing bit you had.
Wait, I got one more. No, I don't.
What I will say is Robbie was a very close and very good friend to me for a long time. And, you know, I think the most difficult thing about overnight success, the most difficult thing about fame, and I can definitely attest to this myself, is that when you are someone who's struggling with certain personal issues, and then you become, successful and famous within our community, things that were kind of like small issues that you kind of were pushing off dealing with can become really, really big issues overnight, because a lot of things can trigger and exacerbate issues. And it's really difficult to then deal with those things in the public eye. It's not like I didn't have a tumultuous relationship with alcohol before Drag Race, but after Drag Race, that really got exacerbated. And for many years, I was struggling to find my balance with alcohol. And guess what? The balance is none at all.
Oh, no. Yay.
Yeah, I'm a year and a half sober now. And it's something I stopped drinking multiple times after Drag Race. And this is the time that's stuck.
Wow, congratulations.
Congrats.
A year and a half is like, that's like a big hump to get over.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things about being a drag queen that I think, we all kind of know it. We all kind of talk about it in ways, but you're just kind of around alcohol constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, become expected that a drag queen just loves to drink. And so once that's expected of you, then that's what people want from you. And in so many words, it's a lot harder to say, oh, I've had enough, when like 18 people in the bar are trying to get you drunk with them, or buying you drinks or sending you shots. And for someone who's figuring out their relationship to alcohol, as free drinks just keep getting sent your way, it's really hard to say, no, thank you.
Yeah, it really is. I know that feeling.
So I have one more.
So how has 2020 been now that you're sober? He can shut up. I
have one more Drag Race question that I wanted to ask, and then we can close the chapter on Drag Race, which is, I think a lot of people who have won have said, yeah, I won. It was amazing. But also, I hate the competition. I hate, like, the whole vibe is, like, so psycho. Would you ever go back for a winner's season?
I get asked this a lot, and
fuck my interview. No, I'm just kidding.
So just go read about it. No, my mood changes back and forth about this. The competition aspect was one of the most difficult aspects of it, and but I do think competition is valuable. I do think that, like, competition within art forms causes us to raise the bar and sometimes incites the best work out of people, when there's stakes involved. And I've believed this ever since my time at art school in college. But it was also, it's also a freaking mind trip. And so I don't know. There are days when I say I would totally do it just for the experience and to show everyone how I've evolved since my season. And there are days where I say, I think my time in competitive drag might be done. So I guess it really just depends on what day they catch me on, if they ever call me for that.
You heard it here, 12th.
I don't want to say
may or may not
definitively. I don't want to say anything definitively because, as soon as I give a definitive statement, it becomes truth, as we remember with the Jewish narcoleptic drag queen. So one thing I can commit to these days is I'm just like, I'm Jinkx Monsoon and I'm a witch. And that's all I say.
Wait, who is it that calls you a swamp witch? The first time I heard that...
That was Trixie Mattel, and when Trixie called me a swamp witch, I was like, this feels half true. But then I realized that my fan base were really into the idea of me being a swamp witch. And now I'm like, I'll embrace it. I'm really comfortable with my level of notoriety and fame. And I think swamp witch pretty much sums up where I am in the drag queen pantheon tier.
Why don't we take a break and then we'll come back with some more questions?
Okay.
Come through, Blue Chew.
Do you remember the days when you were always ready to go? Sexually? Perky-lurky with that morning wood, diva?
Yes, I do. With everything going on in the world right now, sometimes it's hard to get hard.
Yeah, it comes and goes.
Yeah, you never know, you know?
Well, there is nothing worse than performance anxiety around sexual performance. Woo!
Ooh, baby. Well, that's why it's the perfect time to talk about BlueChew.com. That's blue, like the color blue, and chew, like chewing.
Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis.
You can take them anytime, day or night, even on a full stomach. And since they're chewable, they'll work up to twice as fast as a pill. So you can be ready whenever it's time to turn up the heat.
Wherever.
Wherever.
Blue Chew is fast and easy way to enhance your performance. It's a perfect way to boost your confidence where it counts. In your penis being hard.
Yeah, baby. Blue Chew is prescribed online by a licensed physician, so you don't have to go to the doctor's office or wait in line at the pharmacy. It ships right to your door in a discreet little package.
They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy.
These are perfect to make that pandemic lockdown sex really count. Or if you're flying solo, why not have a marathon day and you just pump it confidently?
Right now, we've got a special deal for listeners. Visit Blue Chew, blue like the color, chew like you're chewing, .com and get your first shipment free when you use our special promo code SLOPPY. Just pay $5 shipping.
Again, that's BLUE chew.com. Promo code SLOPPY to try it for free.
Blue Chew is the better, cheaper, faster choice, and we thank them for sponsoring the podcast.
Goodbye. Ooh. And we're back. Thoughts?
On the vocal?
On
Do you have
the-
any
on the
thoughts
vocal?
on the vocal, Jinx?
Do you need to hear
Move
one more
over, Adele Dazeem, because Meatball's on the scene.
time? Can you? Oh, wow. Okay, so you do, in fact, know Wicked.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was one of my favorites as a teenager.
Well, because you're a
I
witch.
performed. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, I've always been obsessed with all things witches, even before I started practicing the craft. And I wouldn't say Wicked is one of my favorite musicals, but when I performed Defying Gravity at my nightclub, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't Elphaba. We even
Did you
rigged
have
up
any
a broom.
tricks? Oh, you picked up a broom.
I painted myself green, of course, which a lot of queens at that time, I was like 17, 18. A lot of queens said it was the best I ever looked.
Oh my God. They've been dragging you from the beginning.
Why are they so mean?
Oh, it's whatever. It helped me sharpen my claws. But my favorite moment was, at the climax of the song, I just raised my hand into the air, and a friend who was holding a broom on a string rigged up to the rafters above lowered the broom directly down into my hand. It was theater magic.
At a club?
I love
Yeah.
that.
That's
Oh,
incredible.
so good.
We even had flying monkeys, which were really four very attractive people, one of which was a muscle twunk, and he was wearing nothing but a jock strap, and we painted his ass red and stuff. So we had all the elements for a good drag number.
Wait,
She
that
really went
reminds
there.
me- That reminds me of the first time I did the Julia Sugarbaker monologue at Precinct. And right before my number, someone went out with like a baton on a string. I had stuff wired to fly too. But before my number, they had to go out and like set it up. So the whole gag was lost because there was someone walking out, putting something over the pole and then like bringing it backstage. And they're like, it's clearly it's going to happen. No, I wanted to ask you about the roast. You're one of everyone's favorite roaster on the Haters Roast tours. You famously can talk for 45 minutes nonstop. What is it like hearing everyone else tell the same jokes every night and you write new ones?
Well,
Drag them, take them down.
It's
Etc.
like any. It's like any show, and we all told all the same jokes each year
Yeah.
on tour. You work out your set, and you don't want to tamper with what works. But it's like any other show, you know, you have to be present. You have to be an active listener, and you have to give the response, you know, you're supposed to give at the moment you're supposed to give it. So it's like any other stage show where certain moments are just kind of rehearsed, but you try to keep them authentic and true. Um, but I really enjoyed doing the roasts, and yes, I famously go on, and it was this ongoing. Here's some tea. It was this ongoing dilemma of I felt like I was in a really tough spot because everyone in the shows, from producer to every performers, I don't know what they were saying behind my back, but to my face, they were saying, wow, your set's really, really long. You should trim it down. But your set's also really good, so we don't know where to trim it down. So if you could figure out how to trim down your set that we don't want you to trim down, that would be great. And it would be like this daily thing of like, I'd be like, well, I guess I can cut this part. And someone in the cast or crew would be like, no, you can't cut that part. That's the best part. And so every day I was like, okay, I got to trim this set down. And everyone would protest my proposed cuts. And you know what happened in the end? I never trimmed it down. And I just went on and felt my oats for my full 40 minutes. And, so it's like, yeah, I mean, it's not professional to do a 40-minute set when they've asked for a 20-minute set. But then also, you don't know what it was like trying to trim down that set and having everyone tell me don't.
You're like, you don't know what it's like to be so talented and amazing that the criticisms don't line up, and I just have to keep doing. No, I'm curious about those shows. Did those like? Obviously, we've, you know, like they've done that like Work the World reality show. So you sort of see that there's like a choreographer working with, you know, like whatever. But for the roast shows, like, is anyone directing those? Or the idea is they go like, okay, everyone, you're going to sit in these chairs and bring your own jokes. We start the show at 7, you know?
Yeah, it was kind of like that, you know. We got a lot of feedback night to night on like what things work and what things we should cut, but all the queens, you know, when there's like some really talented comedians and queens out there, we all felt the pressure to be at our A game. And so a lot of us worked with writers. I always collaborate with Nick Sahoya, my comedy partner, every year on my roast material. And what that normally entails is I sit down and write out all the jokes that I think are funny, and then we comb through them together and workshop the ones that work and just cut the ones that don't. And so in that sense, it's not like I hired a writer to write my jokes for me. I hired a writer to write with me.
Right. I feel like roast jokes are really hard, right?
Yeah, they're so
They
hard.
are. They're, you know, it's a very specific kind of build up and deliver, you know. It's like somewhere between delivering a punchline and acting out a scene, I guess, because everything has to be in place the perfect way so that the audience and the person being roasted feels comfortable laughing at the joke.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's an interesting challenge as we have more and more conversations about, you know, what it means to be alive right now.
Mm-hmm. and what
so
it, yeah, everyone is adjusting
and our
their
responsibilities.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Exactly. Meatball, can you do a roast joke?
No.
Not at all.
What was one?
What was one?
I did one good one at Pickle one year, but it was written for me by, I think, Casey Lai. And it was, Pickle, your teeth remind me of One Direction, and that they're all different colors and they're all doing their own thing now.
That is very funny.
Isn't that good? Can you do one? You did a good one of me at my roast.
Yeah, but my former roommate wrote it.
Oh, right.
It was what do me and your birth mother have in common? We both don't want you here. Something like that.
That was along the lines of my parents not wanting me. Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes,
that's
yes,
the thing. I feel like when people who are Meatball and I both sort of have this vibe where in conversation we can like volley and
Yeah.
keep it going, and like.
But when I
there's
sit
energy.
down to write a roast joke, my mind goes blank. And
And
then
I'm like,
I feel
this
like
is
I
the
should watch
hardest thing in
some
the world.
roasts. And then I'm like, don't watch roasts because then you're just going to steal those
You're
jokes.
just stealing jokes.
Yeah.
So it's very impressive that someone, that you're like, oh, I sit there
that
and
you're
wrote
a genius.
a notebook full of jokes, and then me and my writing partner decide what works the best. That's like, that is very amazing to me.
Well, I
So-
mean, there were a lot of throwaways, but
Who
You
are
gotta
your
get
like
through
big
the throwaways.
inspirations for your drag and your joke writing?
when I'm doing a roast, I like to imagine myself as Betty Davis, even though I don't. Some of the jokes I think I deliver like Betty Davis. And in my mind, I'm playing Betty Davis, even if I'm not copying her voice or mannerisms. But like, it's the idea of of someone who's so effervescent and effortlessly glamorous and fabulous that she kind of just rambles on, sharing her thoughts and doesn't even realize they're funny,
Right.
That's the way I like to play my roasts. One of my favorite ways to start my set is to first make fun of myself,
Sure.
to let everyone know that we're all there to laugh at ourselves. And I think one of the clips that went viral is viral, like 20,000 views or whatever. But I would say, some of the queens here are going to make fun of me. They're going to make comments about my size, or they're going to make jokes about how I look now versus how I looked when I won my season. And that's fair because I was a lot thinner and prettier when I won Drag Race. But just remember, some of these girls have never been thin. Some of them still aren't pretty. And I'm the only winner up here. That was my
Right.
favorite way to start it out, and it changed night to night depending who was on the dais. But but yeah.
I just always feel like, the people who fail on Drag Race when they do the roast challenge. I'm like, okay, so I'm just call someone ugly, call someone old, call someone stupid, and they're like, that's not a joke. That's not funny. You're just being
The Derek
mean.
Barry School of Comedy.
Right, where you're just like, I'm so insecure, I'm just gonna swing in a 360, and whoever goes down with me, they're, yeah. So, let's talk about this year. And how you're
2020.
feeling as a person in this insane thing that we're all experiencing.
A newly sober person in a sober.
Yeah,
girl.
girl.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was deep enough into my sobriety when the pandemic hit that I wasn't tempted to start drinking again. And thank God, because if I had, I think I was about 6 or 7 months sober when quarantine began. If I had been like 2 weeks sober when quarantine began, this could have been the death of me. I don't know. I was really fortunate. I live with my best friend who's been my assistant since the beginning, since Drag Race. And he's been my tour manager, and he's been there for all my significant moments in my career. And he and I just kind of looked at each other as my entire gig calendar dissolved into ashes, and as if I use a physical calendar, as if there's a calendar on the wall that just burst into flames.
Well, you are a witch. You probably cast a spell. And just said, I need to see it.
But he and I just looked at each other and said, okay, so what are we going to do instead? And we just really didn't skip a beat. I started doing Instagram live shows. I set up a Cameo. Then I started doing like live streaming shows with my management team. And, I felt very fortunate that right away I had so many resources that I could draw upon. I had like a really loyal, really wonderful audience base that was willing to watch me transition from live entertainment to digital entertainment, because I really had kind of been dragging my feet trying to get into digital entertainment. You know, I have a
Right.
YouTube channel that I post to like twice a year.
Right.
So it's been an interesting challenge, and I wasted no time just like making that shift. And at the same time, because I very quickly made that shift, I didn't really take a lot of time to think about how I actually felt about everything.
Mm.
And it wasn't until I was filming the movie with Ben de la Creme, available now at jinxanddela.com.
Jinxanddela.com.
I had this day where I did this scene with Jordan Taylor, who plays the naked guy in our movie. And it was just a really rewarding acting experience. You know, one of those moments where I felt like I was doing real acting work just now. And I felt something that I hadn't felt in a long time. And that was, you know, like artistic fulfillment, I guess.
Oh.
Because doing digital shows, it's really difficult to take your live material and do it for your computer screen, and then there's not that connection and that call and response from the audience. And while I was having a lot of fun and I was really happy my audiences were enjoying it, it was lacking in the kind of like artistic fulfillment that you receive when you deliver a good performance and you can feel that energy exchange. So doing that scene with another actor, and even though we didn't have an audience, we had each other to play off of. It was like this amazing experience I hadn't realized I was missing until then. And so, you know, 2020's been all right. It's been a hell of a year. There were so many things where I was like, God, if only I could have planned for this, you know?
Totally.
If only I had gotten some warning. Because honestly, like the hardest thing at the beginning of the pandemic was I had just had my hair transplant surgery, you know. I forget the technical term for it. The way I refer to it is we moved some things from the garage into the foyer.
And that's
But,
like filling in the hairline.
It was rebuilding my hairline, and you know they extract hair follicles from the healthy parts of your head and put it in the parts of your head that's affected by genetic pattern baldness.
I've been thinking about doing that. I think I got wig traction alopecia.
Oh, yeah.
This hair up front is just thin.
That stuff's real, you know, and I talk openly about it because I think a lot of people would feel more comfortable taking preventative measures or feel more comfortable looking at their options if we just destigmatized the idea of hair loss, you know?
Totally.
And
I think it's very normal. Well, when I'm over in the UK, most of the guys that I've like worked with over there have had a hair transplant. It's like pretty normal over there.
They also wear wigs over there. A lot of them.
Should we name the names of other queens that have gotten hair transplants that are afraid to talk about it? Will, get ready to start bleeping.
No.
I don't know if these are true or not.
Hasn't had this already.
I don't know if any of that
Don't
is
be
true.
messy like this, Meatball. Jinkx Monsoon, you were going to say you wanted to plan.
Oh, I was going to get into the gender politics of losing your hair, but whatever. No, I'm
We can. You noticed she said genetic pattern baldness.
well, because, I mean, for me as a trans femme person, my hair loss was doing a number on my psyche and my self-esteem. So I just think, you know, being able to say like this affects people in this way and doing something about it should be destigmatized. Then, you know, the thing that really blew my mind was when I talked to my friends about having this procedure. A handful of my friends were like, yeah, well, I've been on the preventative hair loss drug since my early 20s, and I've been using Rogaine since my mid 20s. And I'm like, what? Like,
You never told me.
Friends of mine. And I was like, oh, that stuff actually works. I should have been doing that this whole time. So anyway, back to COVID. I had the procedure, you know, at the beginning of the year with my whole year lined out for me. So it's like I spent the money on this procedure thinking, you know, and then 2 weeks after my recovery, I'll be back on the road making the money I'm used to. And then COVID hit. And so it was like, this difficult moment of like being really happy I spent the money on a procedure that's really improved my well-being, and then being really disappointed that I spent a bunch of money right before the pandemic.
Of course. But that's
Well,
the
now
thing.
you got that Hulu money from
Oh,
Happiest
yes.
season. So what is there to be upset
Let's
about?
talk about
Mom?
that. So you and Dela appear in beautiful, resplendent Christmas.
Gorgeous.
You know, shout out to you for also being like, you see these two drag queens in a mainstream film with big movie stars. Also, you can see their own special right over here at jinxanddela.com.
That was all kind of serendipitous, you know.
Oh, sure.
I
No
didn't know Clea
strategy
Duvall was
there.
a lesbian. News to
Yeah.
me.
Really? She is
She's
the
big.
lesbian icon
I
of my
met her at
generation.
one of the Peaches Christ shows. I don't think people know that she goes to like a lot of the Peaches Christ shows every time they're in LA. So
They've
I met
been
her
good
and I had
friends
no
for a
clue.
while. Yeah.
I literally said to Meatball, I was like, oh, and when Jinx comes on, we'll talk about Happiest Season because, you know, they're in the film. And
I knew it was a lesbian film, and then you were like,
I was like,
Duvall-
yeah, Clea Duvall directed it. She wrote it with Mary Holland. And Meatball was like, why? She's not gay.
I was like, her and Mary
Clea Duvall
Holland, they're not gay.
is the lesbian. Yeah, exactly. Anyways,
Yeah,
how was that?
Oh, it was really one of those ideal Hollywood experiences because, you know, I've been chatty in the past about how sometimes in Hollywood drag queens are treated more like novelty acts rather than, you know, legitimate respected performers. And this experience just was not like that. Everyone from the cast to the crew to Clea Duvall as the director treated us with the utmost respect, and we never felt like intruders. You know, we never felt like, oh, what are us two drag clowns doing here on this movie set? Like, we really felt like a part of the cast and like respected artists. And it was just really a wonderful experience because Clea's been a friend of mine for many years. A decade,
probably 10 years.
Yeah,
we've been.
10 years ago. No, and I was having dinner with Clea and her partner Mia one night.
Stop.
And
Really?
I know Clea and Mia is so cute. And Clea mentioned that she was writing a role for me in this movie she was writing, and it was one of those moments where it's like I didn't fully know if it was just my friend Clea being nice or if this would actually happen. And in Hollywood, I don't consider anything a done deal until the movie comes out, you know.
Of course.
And even after filming, I was like, who knows? We could have been cut from the film. If I hadn't shoved that mic in Kristen Stewart's face, you know, like maybe I could.
God.
Anyway. So yeah, when the moment came when she saw Clea and her partner Mia have always come to see mine and Dela's holiday shows on tour. So when the moment came when we were finally like signing the contract and getting ready to go film our scene, I was like, wow, it's all actually happening. I'm going to be in a movie this year. And so we filmed that shortly after our holiday tour so right at the beginning of 2020. And it was well before we knew the pandemic was going to take the shape that it has. So it was kind of like we had this movie and we knew it was coming out, and then all our tours got canceled, rightly so, and we decided to make the holiday film. And it was kind of like, I guess we're just going to be all over Christmas's ass this year. You know,
Well, it's a good ass to be all
known
over.
as the Christmas Queens this year. Yeah.
How was Aubrey Plaza? I'm such a fan of Aubrey Plaza.
Aubrey is, she's kind of what you'd expect from Aubrey Plaza. Like, she had these moments of saying really weird non sequitur things, and but she was a joy to work with. She was really kind. You could tell that she loves drag queens because she kind of always just floated over to us. Like when we were doing the drive-in premiere a couple weeks ago, we were all on the red carpet, all the cast members that could make it to the premiere. And they said, okay, now everyone assemble so we can take one big cast photo. And I watched as Aubrey Plaza went from the opposite side of the red carpet, just kind of seamlessly migrated her way over to the drag queens.
Yes.
And the really sweet thing was when they were like, okay, and now we're going to do a slightly smaller photo with the core players. And, you know, Dela and I started walking off the red carpet and Aubrey just went with us. And they were like, no, Aubrey, we need you for this photo. So she was really sweet. She was really kind. And then also had those moments of saying something where I was like, I don't fully know where I stand with you. And I love it.
I don't know if she's still on Instagram anymore, but I remember her Instagram handle for a long time was Evil Hag.
Yeah.
Even when she was 6 seasons into Parks and Rec, like a mainstream celebrity, it could just be Aubrey Plaza, and it was Evil Hag. And I'm just like, that's a cool ass
I just want to get to the bottom of that.
I know
girl.
that's still her handle on Twitter, but I think her Instagram handle is now like Plaza de Aubrey.
Right.
But yeah,
Oh my
Evil
God.
Hag. I mean, that right there, that's how I felt very connected to her. But we worked mostly with Kristen Stewart and Aubrey Plaza, and they were both so kind to us, and they both made us feel really like welcome on set, and didn't make us feel intimidated or nervous to, like, you know, be drag queens shoving mics in their faces throughout our scene. But then also Mackenzie Davis and Mary Holland and Dan Levy, who weren't needed that day. They had already wrapped their shooting. They just showed up on set to, you know, say hi and bye to Kristen and Aubrey, but also to meet Dela and I. So it was
cool.
it was just a really friendly cast of wonderful performers, and never was there a moment where I felt like, you know, this is bullshit.
Well, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with our last segment called Fuck Talk.
And we're back. Can you say ah? Is it too early? Oh,
okay.
Wait a minute.
Oh, wait, was that for Dipper? Sorry.
No, that was for you because you came in with the notes, the vibrato, the delivery, and the witchcraft. We know all of those things line up, so that was an excellent riff.
What people can't see is that she does have a fog machine going, and she's wearing a witch hat. There's a cauldron in front of her.
Can I just say one of my favorite moments because you participated in one of the Race Chaser live streams we did. One of my favorite moments is when you got up
Shabadoo?
Eliza Shabadoo and the Spelling Bee, which both Meatball and Jinx here were a part of. When you got up, and I think we were connected to your AirPods, so when you went to pee, we heard a very audible what do they call it? A stream of pee stream of urine.
Yeah.
And we were all just sitting there like spelling a word, and someone was like, "Who's peeing?"
That was by design. I could have taken the earpods out, but I knew what I was doing.
Yes, strategy
I did
queen.
that on a Twitch live stream too, and I took one out and held it a little closer.
Stop.
Now let's get on to our next segment, which is Fuck
Talk.
It's a segment where you tell a weird story about a sexual encounter that could be any time, then or then. Oh, so now you're addicted to the coffee. Is that what's happening? Are you drinking cold brews 3 or 4 times a day?
But it's not to replace the alcohol. It's actually, I was a Red Bull addict, and I would start my day with like 2 Red Bulls, and I thought, maybe there's a way to get caffeine in my body without all the added chemicals. No shade to Red Bull, because I still love Red Bull on show days. But I decided in my 30s it's time to switch to coffee like a responsible adult rather than living my life like an all night gamer.
Speaking about all night gaming, you like feet?
Yes,
Why do they call sucking on toes shrimp diving?
I guess because they look like little shrimps. I don't know.
Little shrimps.
here's the thing is like, yes, I admit to having a foot fetish,
Yes.
but I really don't take it to extreme fetishy levels. I've always said to people who ask about my interests, you know, like, yes, I have a foot fetish, but really I just kind of like looking at a barefooted person, you know, like I enjoy a person to be barefoot. I occasionally slap myself around with someone's foot, you know.
You do the slapping?
Oh, you know, I'm generalizing here, but yeah, I'll engage in mild foot play. But the thing is, for someone who, my character Jinkx Monsoon is extremely sexually an open book, and I feel like the sexual revolution and sexual liberation is extremely important. And so for someone who really enjoys talking about sex and being a sexual person, I'm really just kind of, I call myself French vanilla, you know, like one step up from vanilla. Like there's something a little extra special about it. Like it's got the real vanilla beans in it, but otherwise it's just vanilla. So like even my fetishes are at a very mild level, you know, like
At that mild level, have you had someone be like, no, not my feet, or I want to leave my socks on?
I don't think so. No, I had a really pleasant experience.
Do tell.
Somewhat recently where, well, it's funny and pleasant, but, you know, it was, I was fooling around with someone and we talked about how we weren't going to have penetrative sex, but we could find lots of other ways to have fun. And at one point I was just like, would you be interested in engaging in some mild foot worship? And he said, wait, me doing that to you? And I was like, oh, no, me doing it to you. And then his response was, yeah, we can definitely do that. Sure, let's go for it. Like really excited. And he had never experienced that before. So he was just kind of excited to try something new. And but yeah, I've been, you know, vocal about having a foot fetish for some time now, only because I thought of some really good jokes about it. But it's like I'll share intimate details from my life if I can find a way to make it funny. Otherwise it stays private. But
Totally.
I've always said that foot fetish for me, many fetishes for different people, and especially furries, all of these things can be linked back to Disney movies.
Oh, yeah.
Disney movies are responsible for some of the biggest kinks in a variety of communities, and I stand firm on that.
Draw me the line to the foot fetish in the Disney.
Okay, so at a very young age, before I really had sexuality, you know, like I think that young, you know, as a kid, you know what things are interesting to you, even if you're not like feeling sexually turned on by them.
Right.
And so before I had any sexuality or any awareness of who I was as a sexual person, I knew that when Gaston kicked off his boots and that one big toe was sticking through his sock, I always say, I saw that big toe. I saw Gaston kick off those muddy boots and that one big toe sticking out of his sock. And at like 7 years old, I was like, something has changed within me. Something is not the same.
You said, let me talk about those toesies.
I always thought Gaston was really hot. And everyone was
course.
like, no, he's a brute. No, he's gross. I was like, yeah, baby. Let me suck on that toe.
Yeah, baby.
Wow. Yeah, baby. I have an interesting
Foot story,
which is, so this is from when I first moved to LA, and I met a guy on Craigslist, and I was looking to, Meatball can fill in the blank,
suck a dick. Suck
right?
an old man's dick. That's what he wants
Correct.
to do. I want to suck an old man's dick all day.
And so I think I had posted an ad, or I forget how the connection happened, but he was like, call me. And I called him and I realized it was a landline. So I called his landline home phone number and we chatted, and he sort of played out this scenario, and he was like, I want you to pretend to be my son. and I want you to come home late, and I'm going to catch you sneaking into the house, and then I'm going to discipline you. But the way I'm going to discipline you is make you suck my dick and make you worship my feet. And so the feet thing was sort of all the way at the end. So I was like, cool, I'm down. Let's do it all.
Okay,
and then when we started to, I went over there probably 3 or 4 times total over a couple months. And it became more and more all he wanted was me. He wanted to sit. He had a very tall chair in the living room. It was sort of elevated. And all he wanted me to do was like lick his feet, suck his feet, rub them all over my face, like swallow all the toes at once. Like at one point he was like fucking my mouth with his foot, and I was like like it was because not like out of grossness,
you don't love yourself,
out of gag reflex. Jinx, some of the reviews of this show are like, the final segment is just really Dipper telling us how damaged he is with all of the sex stories he has. But to me, it was false advertising because he had this amazing dick, and I love sucking his dick, and I wanted to fuck him, but he kept teasing me like we would do that. But he like barely ever let me suck his dick. He would say like, yeah, you can suck my dick, but first the feet. And then when he had his fill, he was like, we're done. And I felt like I was like, why not just get someone who really wants to do feet only? I wanted the whole package.
You want to know why? Because no one else was down to do all the other stuff.
He was really
no
fun.
one was down to pretend to sneak into the house.
I even did the sneak into the house in the middle of the day.
Yeah, my first question was when he said that you got to pretend to sneak into my house. Did you like meet him first? Like, did he open the door and say, "Hi, it's me. Now pretend to sneak in," or did you just like go to a window?
No. It wasn't like break in. He like opened the door and he was like, "What are you doing coming home so late?"
Oh, it started. It started.
I thought it was because what if he sent you to some random person's house just to break in? And he's like, "I promise there's dick here." The only foot story I have is that one that I've already told on this one, where the guy asked me to come over, and then he came on my feet. And then he wanted me to stay and like let it dry and glaze over on my toesies. And then he wanted to do it again later. He wanted to do
multiple loads of dried cum.
When you make a wax hand where you dip the hand in the wax?
When you like
he wanted to do that to my foot, but
when you like put glue on your fingers?
Yes!
That's very therapeutic.
Well, imagine peeling layers of cum off. Anyhow, that's it. We did it.
We made it to the end of the show. Thank you so much for being here, Jinx.
Thank you for having me. And I'll give you my new tagline, Jinkx Monsoon. Like many people with Jewish heritage who were raised Catholic, I now practice witchcraft.
Oh my God, I love that. And for all your witchcraft holiday needs, visit jinxanddela.com to buy your own holiday special and check out Happiest Season on Hulu.
It's
and
so
support
good.
the doll.
There's
you got
plenty
merch?
of holiday-themed drag queen merch there. We've got T-shirts that say everyone is traumatized by Christmas. We've got Christmas ornaments, and bringing it full circle, we've got Jinkx and Dela socks now. So for all you foot lovers out there, you can now do a little foot tease with my face on your toes.
Secret, you guys are having a merch meeting, and you're like, what if we do socks? Put my face on everybody's feet across the world.
I didn't. I wasn't part of the sock conversation, but I was very happy when I saw the socks.
Hey. Well, I look forward to a future, maybe in like a year, when I can see you perform live in a theater, because you are so good at that.
Yeah, I really look forward to coming back to my one true home, the stage, the theater.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening to Sloppy Seconds. You can follow us on Instagram at SloppyPod. Make sure to
email at sloppysecondspod@gmail.com or call in with your fuck talk story to 213-536-9180. I don't like the way Jinx was looking at me during that. And you can follow me at Big Dipper on Instagram.
I was miles away, honey. I was thinking about my next meeting.
Oh, she's booked.
She's booked to God. You can follow me on Twitter at FatDragMeatball. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't ever miss an episode, which now come out every Tuesday and Friday.
Okay, Jinx. Bye.
Thank you, Jinx.
Bye.
Doodle-doo-doo, forever dog. To listen to Sloppy Seconds ad-free, sign up for Forever Dog Plus at foreverdogpodcast.com/plus.
Sloppy Seconds is produced by Forever Dog and Moguls of Media.
M.O.M. Hosted by Big Dipper and Meatball. Mixed and mastered by William Pitts.
Executive produced by Willem Belli, Alaska Thunderfuck, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey.
Our artwork is drawn by Christian Cimarroni.
And our theme song was written by Mike Malarkey.